Hi folks! Proof of intelligence. Are we alone here? Here and here. Firstly, welcome to my humble off-grid homestead in the forest. If I had a wide-angle lens, you could see the rest of the snow everywhere all around me. And this beautiful, cloudless, blue, deep blue sky. I shouldn't have looked up. The sun's over there. Now I'm gonna sneeze. And today I wanted to share something with you that have been on my mind since I was in my early teens, maybe even when I was 12. But I can probably go back definitely to my first conversations with my dad when I was 13 or definitely 14. And that is intelligent life elsewhere. And still today, from time to time in podcasts and whatever, I hear that some folks are still questioning that, whether there's intelligent life elsewhere. Let me go back to a few decades ago, maybe half a century ago or so. There was this group of so-called scientists that came up or asked this question: if there is intelligent life, they call it Fermi. I think they call it Fermi paradox. Should have looked it up. But the question was, if there is intelligent life, where are they? Why haven't they come to see us? Why don't we have any evidence of them? And to me, I mean, especially now, that's hilarious. Because, I mean, egotistical, and how dare we even kind of ask questions like that? Because let's look at the numbers, actually, before we go any farther. Further and farther. There are farther because there are, my understanding is that there are 200 billion galaxies. And this is why I wear these are safety glasses, by the way. If you guys see me wear these in videos, my eyes are sensitive to light and wind. And so 200 billion galaxies, and in each galaxy, like our own Milky Way, there are, I don't know, billions of stars, and certainly planets. And even recently I heard that there are this is a 5 I'm showing you, okay? I'm wearing my mittens. So there are 5 sort of a rocky planets in each sort of a like our solar system, and of those there's some, at least one, if not 2, that are of habitable zone, sort of like by our standards. I mean, so then multiply that by those numbers. I mean, the numbers are astronomical in favor of other life forms in existence. What I mean is, how about this? There is the odds of winning the lottery where you live is far greater than the odds of other forms of beings, intelligent or not, elsewhere than this planet. But I don't even know where to start when someone says, where are they? Why haven't we seen any? Why aren't they coming to see us, for instance, if they're more intelligent? And I honestly don't know where to start. Let me just start by saying this. So we consider ourselves to be intelligent, and look at what we've done to the planet, what we've done to our own environment, our own backyard, where we live, what we've done to other forms of beings on this planet that we don't have a right to, what we're doing to each other in other neighbors and countries, neighboring countries, even countries that are far away from us, what we're doing, what the experiments we're doing, the Agent Orange, for instance, and the other experiments that we're doing right now, right today, just a few years ago. I won't go into that, but and so you think an intelligent life from another, if there was even just one, from another planet or neighboring galaxy or whatever, would see this and say, "Oh yeah, I want to go hang out with those idiots." Honestly, if I mean, would you want to go hang out with a lower life form, and really hang out and show yourselves and say, what is there? How would you hang out? How would you? I don't. How would you hang out with someone with a life form like that? What would you have? What would you say to them? What would the conversation go? I mean, you're not on the same level of intelligence. It's not. I can only laugh. I don't believe it, and that's just if they, that kind of scenario. And but let's look at, we know less about our deep sea inhabitants than we do in some far away distant planets. I mean, there's so much down there that we've never seen. Those they're fish that are crystal clear, almost like see-through, like transparent, and or the angler fish, or okay, forget about things that are deep sea. If you hadn't already known or seen pictures, or maybe at a zoo or something like that, someplace like that, where they're showcased and they're alive. Things like horseshoe crabs, which I don't know how many millions of years they are from, an octopus, a squid. If you hadn't already jellyfish, they're always so mesmerizing. If you hadn't already known about them, could you imagine that they exist? A form like that exists, and we can debate the intelligence part. But if we're talking even just like a simple life form, other life form. If you hadn't seen these, could you even imagine something like that, in that shape and form, and how they live or whatever exists? Honestly, Jesus. But now there are, I remember one time having a conversation with this young fellow. You're old when you call someone young fellow. And shout out to Liam. And we were just talking about this subject. And I think it was 10 years ago, 9 years ago, something like that, right here in this neighborhood. And he just finished high school at that time. And he said to me, and we were talking, and I was saying, if there's like higher form of life, you can see how this topic's been on my mind for so long. I said, if there's a higher form of life form, do you think people want to see it? I mean, in like a flying saucer, or that kind of a clunker that makes noise and lights flashing, or even today in like some sci-fi movies that they portray them to look like this big thing, and just big, like a flying house or flying neighborhood size or whatever. And I mean, that's kind of archaic to me, something like that. I'm not even talking, some of you are already probably shouting at me, trying to remind me about the Oswald and the ones that are crashed in New Mexico or whatever. And could be true too. I'm not discounting that, but I'm just saying, different life forms could be from different times. So what Liam said to me is that they don't have to be when I was arguing that how are they driving with these clunkers, he said they don't have to be from 1,000 years ago. They could be from 100 years ago, and he was so right. Look at how far we've come in the past 100 years. The discoveries, the stuff that we have today that we didn't have. This very YouTube that I'm able to share this conversation with you with is only 20 years old. Internet, the biggest thing that's happened to anyone's life in the recent history. How old is that? In 1994, I had dial-up. 1995, something like that. And even till recently, I didn't have high-speed internet. So what am I talking about? So there are those who know me. They know that my ideas and scenarios and thought processes and what ifs are so wild and out there, and I don't even think that my ideas are so out of the ordinary. And I'm sure there are people that I haven't met that have more complicated, more not complicated, more controversial, let's say, ideas. So here's just one of my ideas. Do you know how? Do you remember, some of you who are old enough, or maybe you have like one of those retro um, transistor radios? I was going to say those floor model radios from the 1940s or 50s, when the whole family, that's all before the TV age, people would gather around them, and the whole family. It doesn't matter what age. It wasn't like the kids saying, "Oh, I don't want this. That's my dad's or my grandparents' radio show." It was so rare. The shows were so rare, and on this tube, sort of a furniture-looking radio, or even these transistor radios, smaller ones that you might call retro. There are two knobs. There's like a volume knob, and that also turns on and off the unit. And then there was these, and then they had this knob, and even some older cars actually have that. If you've seen it, had this knob that you would use for tuning. Now today's cars are like digital. You just press it on the screen, and it just skips to the scans, the next station, next available station. But imagine your if any of you did it, you can just picture yourself when you were little. You did this, and there was this many stations in the numbers, and then you had to, on AM or FM, I don't even know if there was FM at that time, but anyway, and you would sit there, and then you would gently, gingerly turn the knob, and then you would get like a weak signal. Lots of static before, and lots of static after. And if you didn't have a good signal and it was in a clear day or whatever, as obstruction, and even you couldn't even in the middle get a good signal to be able to hear what's being said. But you just knew that there's something there. It was just static, only you didn't have access to it. So you would just move along and just keep turning the dial till you would reach, oh, there's something. And then a little bit more, and then you hear it, and then you go, oh, I went too far. Just a little bit, teensy bit back, and then you would get a signal. Well, what makes us think that that's any different with them? They're on a different frequency. I don't necessarily mean intelligence. I mean frequency, as in the waves, that they can hear us and we can hear them, and we just haven't found them on the set of availability, the stations that that we can actually hear them. We just haven't. Maybe our broadcasting's at a different megahertz or whatever. That's a possibility too. And then, staying with the same theme, like I said, there are patches that is completely silent until you reach the next radio station. I'm talking about the radios, older radios, and even in your car, and when you press scan, there's like you see the numbers jumping forward, and then it stops when it finds a station. This is the digital ones, right? Before the knob ones. Well, what happened in that period in between the two stations? There was nothing. It was just going fast to reach something. Now, hang on. Just because it's silent from between one station and another still doesn't mean that there isn't something there that we just can't access. A better way to explain it to you is this. Have you ever had your phone, and in particular here, that's a everyday event. If you have your phone and you go somewhere where there's what do you call it, dead zone, like a no signal, and all of a sudden there's no signal, and then you take your phone and you do this to it, and you hold it up try to hope that there's a satellite somewhere that can bounce off, your phone can reach and whatever. So this is no different than that. It's not. So you already have communication with on the other side, and then you move a step this way or that way, or you turn your phone this way or that way, or whatever, angle it differently. Now you've got it. Now you got your signal back again. I never really understood that with the cell phones, because say you do this and you get a cell phone and then you bring it down again and you're confused as to why you lost the signal, why you have less bars now. Well, just because you had bars here, you have to actually elevate yourself somehow to where it was, because between the time you get it and you bring it down, well, you've just lost that bar. Otherwise, that bar would never be lost as you're walking or whatever, you're moving or whatever. That's hilarious to me. Maybe I got this wrong, but whatever. And so that's another way. Now, by now, you know about multiverses and however a number of string theories and all these other things, quantum. But what if, right here, between you and I, between you, we're about 20, 30 feet apart, whatever that works out to meters. Between you and me, what if there aren't already other beings that I can't see and you can't see with your camera? Just as now that these what a James Webb telescope, all these other new telescopes and not so new telescopes that are out there, when they change the I don't know if it's called a frequency, how they can visualize some rays. So like purple, blue, red, infrared. All these other things that without fine tuning or changing the transparency or the color that the thing is able to pick up. I'm not good at explaining this, but I think you've heard this. If you haven't, ask someone else that knows to explain it to you better. So this is, and they see it and they say, "Oh my God, we discovered this, that, and the other just by changing the radio waves or radioactive whatever that's coming from them." And now we can see that. That's just probably as we speak, that stuff's happening, right? So how is it not possible that as I'm talking to you, there aren't other beings between you and me that I just can't see and you can't see with that camera? I just want someone to prove me wrong if that's what they think, if they think that there aren't other beings as I'm here right here with me, just on both of my sides, and maybe they can see me, maybe they can. Maybe this planet as we know it, Earth, it doesn't actually is not just inhabited by us. Do you know what I mean? I'm not even talking on a parallel universe. I'm talking this very where I'm sitting now. How do we know there are other beings in different forms that are invisible to our light or what we can see, and maybe they can't see us either? I don't know. I'm not saying anything for sure. I'm just saying, how do we know that's not the case? Like the dark matter that's out there. There's more dark matter than the visible spectrum. So what's there? Doesn't mean that there's nothing there. It's got gravity. It's got a gravitational pull bigger than the visible, planets in that. So they're bending the light and the pulling the planets. So another way to think about it is that what if there aren't any. I have some videos actually in the summertime. This is just a whimsical way of putting it. And there are trees that have bent. They're like now arched. They're not dead. They're just arched because another tree, as it was coming down, just by accident, I guess, with one of its branches, it brought down like a teenage tree. A giant tree comes down, bring down with one of its branches on its way down, and bends it and holds it there for so long until I've come and released it. But by that time, the tree, this live other tree, that's not snapped not under the weight, just under the weight of a single branch that's held it down, and then now it's taking the shape of that arch. So imagine something like that. You're just walking. It's not even like, I don't want to make it like a Hollywood thing that there's like a hologram thing that is like a shimmery, iridescent, whatever doorway, round circle thing that you go through, and now you go to another dimension, right where you're standing, right here in front of you. But what if it's not as whatever as that, as Hollywood is that? You're just walking, and what's in front of us, what's in front of me is completely clear, just like I'm seeing you and the camera in front of me, as I'm seeing the snow right here, as clear as that. But between me and it, there is this portal sort of thing. I don't even know how to explain, what to word it, how to call it, name it. So it's like all of a sudden, I walk into this thing. It's not even. It doesn't. I don't feel anything. There's no. You know. You know how you've seen those movies. It's like the thing like shakes and you go into it. It's a very maybe thin, maybe this thick, maybe as thin as my hand here. You just go through it. All of a sudden you're somewhere else. But I'm just saying it's completely clear. It's as if it's not there. Sort of like. I'm not saying exactly like that, but this Bermuda Triangle that I remember first hearing about that when I was, I think, 12 or something. I was fascinated by it. So you see, you could just, it's, the pilots always said there's nothing there, weather's fine, they're doing well, there's just no turbulence, blue sky, they're going through, and all of a sudden, they're not there anymore. Or a whole freight liner isn't there anymore. It's not even a plane, like a Cessna, like a cargo ships, whatever. They're not there anymore. They've vanished. The signal's gone. So all of this stuff, I think, can still happen, and is still happening right now, without us even, just because no one's even, just because no one's come to tell us, a particular so-called scientist, to say, oh, look what I discovered. Here's the thing. And you say, what thing? And you say, look, like, you see this circle thing? It's like a hobbit door. I said, no, I don't see it. We said, well, look, I put my hand through it, and then you don't see the rest of my hand on the other side. So oh yeah, where did his hand go? Until someone like that comes and tells you, we're just going to say, no, this stuff is BS. There's no way such a thing can happen. It's totally without, not in the realm of reality. You must be out of your mind. Anyway, so this and more sort of ways of thinking is that possibilities is what I'm always thinking about. Just because we haven't yet discovered it doesn't mean that it's not there. Look at all the discoveries that we discovered. Would we have known there's such a thing as internet 100 years ago, or 80 years ago? And if somebody told you could do this, would you have believed it then? And so why not believe that there could be other forms of intelligence, other form of beings, intelligent or not even? And I don't think I can be so wrong. I don't think anyone can be so wrong about anything anymore. Anything and everything is possible. So what say you? What do you think? What do you think is the likelihood of being alone here? Like, all of this is all for us, on this universe, not even this Milky Way, just this, not our universe, just in the, the greater, the 200 billion, whatever. Anyway, I braved the cold to be here for you guys. Thank God I found a sunny spot to sit in. And I'll get a shot of the blue sky above me if I remember by the time I get there. I may have forgotten it. But we're getting an insane amount of rains forecasted for the next 2 days, or no, not tomorrow, but 2 days from today, and something like 30 millimeters of rain or more. Now, some of you where you live, you might think that's no big deal. I'm getting that now. But the thing is, look at how much snow there is. There's 3 feet of snow everywhere. And today's temperature, as I'm talking to you now, is 20 degrees with wind chill, and I think -12 without wind chill. And in the morning it was colder, and tonight it will be colder. This morning when I woke up with the wind chill, doesn't matter because I was inside, was -29. And so to have plus temperatures when there's this much snow and cold at the same time is insane. Climate change, you see. Anyway, I shouldn't be laughing. It's just I'm laughing because it's gone past the worry and all that. I don't know what we're doing to the planet, but I'm trying to do my own bit by living humbly, and I'm sure you are too. Anyway, let me show you the blue sky. No, not a single cloud. No way. This tree here is called a poplar, aspen poplar, trembling poplar, whatever. And the direction exactly where I'm standing at sunset, I have some pictures of it. When the sun hits it from the west, so it's facing this direction that you were looking at is faces west. And when the sun hits it, all of that white bark and the beautiful, brilliant branches on top turn into a burning bush, like a brilliant orange. All of the poplars do that because they seem so white. And in addition to, see, that's a white birch right there. That see, these are all the white ones that you see here. They're all white birches. They do that too, but they don't, because the house is in between the sun and them. They don't get to catch that afternoon sun. But these guys here, all of these turn beautiful, brilliant. I don't even know how to explain it. You know that sunset orange that you get on summer afternoons when the sun's setting, the glow on your face, like that, sun-kissed. And I don't know how much of this snow is going to be gone, but I'm thinking much of it will go. Now, does it mean that it's not going to come back? I don't know. I don't really mind in a way. I mean, it's a fair bit. And if you can see it's how high it is, it's coming up there to the porch. This is, I'm not even at ground level. If I go ground level, you won't be able to even see anything. This is ground level right here. I set the tripod down. And at this time of year, and I really wish I had I'm really worried about the camera right now. I really wish I had one of those action cams to take you when I go to snowshoeing. The reason for that is that these tractor marks, you see, big tractor tires. When we have so much snow, we get our farmer friend to come and plow it. Anyway, I was saying, when I walk through the forest and the virgin snow, as it is here too, but now that he plowed it, he threw it over at the back and not so virgin. You see, there is so much traffic in way of footprints and hoof prints and paw prints of all the wildlife that we normally don't get to see, because when there's no snow around, you don't know. And even their poop, like bunny poop or round pellets, or deer poop, is like almost like half the size of a date, not to gross you out. And moose poop is the size of a date, or that kind of thing. And when there's no snow around, you don't notice that. You don't see any of those because they blend more or less with the leaves and the forest floor. But when there's snow there and you see them, little patches, they're beautiful. You can even tell what's fresh and not. They're not disgusting. They don't stink at all. Even if you see a bear poop, which you won't at this time of year, on occasion when you see a bear poop, it doesn't stink. And somehow I wonder why our poop smells so much. No, just me? Okay. Anyway, folks, think outside. Box not required. Take good care.